you chose to do something that is about Curacao, that's about the future of our generation. Why?
I don't know if it's love. When you see the project, you will think, oh, it's something for the community, and it's something about bettering a whole place. But in the end, I think it was just my own curiosity to why I am like this, why I don't engage in politics, but also why I don't engage in the development of a country. So in a way, it's also kind of like trying to blame someone for my own disengagement.
And so why didn't you just choose it to do it in the Netherlands? Why?
I was trying to do it in Curacao because I wanted to know why Curacao is such a big part of my political disengagement. But then I realized there are so many people in the Netherlands itself that come from Curacao, and then maybe the first step would be to actually check with these people, like, now that you're in another country and the political sphere is almost the same because we have this democratic system, how is it different here in the Netherlands, and how is it different for you in Curacao, in your birth country? In Curacao, we do have the statute and the constitution, but the most regarded paper we have in Curacao is the statute, and the statute is actually about this connection within the Dutch kingdom, that is the Netherlands, St. Martin, Curacao, and Aruba. And the king has the overview over everything, and in the Netherlands, people think the king does not have any power, but on the islands, the king has much more power. We're still in this state of colonialism, but in a much like these days we are talking about not racism as in slavery, but systematic racism. Then Curacao, the relationship between Curacao and the Netherlands is this whole systematic racism, because we're still in this colonial relationship where the Netherlands decides what happens in Curacao. Some people say Curacao is an old soul because we still believe in magic and ancestors, and we have this whole culture about the divine, and not only about God, but also about other African spiritual things, So, and then we have this contrast that is the politics, that is all about rigid systems, facts. And then when you see this, of course, a system is to help the country, but if the country is not connected to the culture, then you can see that there's some kind of fight within friction, within this within this country.
What are your questions in this position paper?
One of the major questions that really is a question, I would say, that you have to focus on if you ever read my paper. Are we, the people from Curacao that come to live to the Netherlands, the missing ladder within the system? But then we have this middle class group that are kind of like the ones that work in the parliament, the ones that have some educational background, that they can help the country. But it seems that even these people are cautious and a bit quiet about it. Of course, this hierarchy is also based on, or not based, but founded within the era of slavery and colonialism, and it seems that in Curacao it did not grow out. It became the mental culture of the people in Curacao. So this is mentioned in one book that I mentioned in my position paper, by John Basselman's Dutch painter artist. He mentions in the book, in Curacao we don't have freedom of speech and we don't have freedom to live. So when you don't have this freedom, the only thing you know to do is to survive. And to survive actually also means that you are in constant fear of what is going to happen tomorrow.
What are you going to do for your project?
If I want to start something somewhere, then I have to start where people have a voice. and not where people do not have a voice. And by starting with somewhere where people have a voice, then that creates encouragement and power for those that do not have a voice to join in. My target is the people from Curacao that live here in the Netherlands, to together create a voice, to then support our own country, Curacao, for them to also find their voice. And they have now at least a right to talk and say, this has to change. And people are starting, in Curacao itself, are starting to say, now it's been enough.
Realize that
Yes.
it's going too far.
It's going too far. But of course, I could see this and say, okay, they're done now. I'm going into another project. But social movement, social change does not happen in a day. So the more people come in, the better. So now I'm in this position of being, I see you guys, and I'll join you guys. I'm not there physically, but I'll join you from a place where I know I can really give you guys power. And that's the project.